When you grow up in the United States, you are taught to be very patriotic about this country. And especially coming from immigrant parents, my parents come from Brazil. They came here seeking a better life for their children. They would often talk about how bad it was in Brazil and the lack of opportunity that they had to succeed there. And then when they came here, they had more of an opportunity. And I thought that was awesome. It's fantastic that they had an opportunity to move to the United States to make a better life for themselves. And growing up, you hear the same sentiment. Through your schools, you hear that United States is the most powerful country. It's the richest country. We are the good guys. You learn about World War II, and you learn about, all these wars that we were involved in, and how we always end up on top, right? We always end up fighting for freedom. For me, like, that messaging resonated and it worked for a little bit. But the first thing that I saw when I was growing up that made me question the United States and its power and the government was the mass shootings. The first mass shooting that I heard about as a kid was Columbine, which was in 1998. That happened 2 years before I was born. I was born in 2000. I remember hearing about it when I was 10 years old. And I also remember seeing videos of politicians talking about how video games were to blame for that.
Film, television, music, dress, technology, games, they've become one giant playground filled with accessible evil, darker than ever before.
Now video games like Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct, and Doom make our children more active participants in simulated violence.
They're able to hook into the internet and play video games that are extraordinarily violent, cause the blood pressure to rise and the adrenaline to flow as they play those games and see people killed or be killed.
And me as a 10-year-old, having already played violent video games at that point, I thought, what? That's ridiculous. As a 10-year-old, I'm like, this is stupid. Like, the first violent video game that I played was Medal of Honor. And I played that when I was 4 years old. And in that game, you see people getting blown up and shot in the face. And you're storming the beaches in Normandy during World War II. And I played that when I was 4 years old. And somehow I came out well-adjusted enough to not want to pick up a gun and shoot a school. So even as a kid, I thought that argument was absolute fucking malarkey. I thought it was fucking stupid. Then the second mass shooting that I heard about was the Aurora shooting that was streaming The Dark Knight, right? That was in 2012. And then the third one that I remember was Sandy Hook. That happened on my birthday. I remember thinking that wow, something has to be done about this. I hope that our government is doing something to fix that problem, right? And I'm 12 years old. I don't want to be shot in fucking school. And then there they go again, blaming video games, blaming every problem that isn't the root cause, which is the lack of gun control. And then somewhere in high school, you start learning that other countries don't have that fucking problem. Other countries don't have a problem with mass shootings. Why? Because other countries aren't fucking stupid, right? And other countries aren't beholden to corporations, right? Like the NRA. So, for example, Australia had one fucking school shooting. And then you know what they decided to do? They got rid of all of the fucking guns. And then they never had a single mass shooting ever again. That shit makes sense. But because we're so gun hungry in this country, taking away your gun is the same thing as taking away your life, right? Which is so stupid. And then in high school, the other one that happened was Parkland, right? And that was in Broward County, I think. And that one was really fucking bad too. And I remember being scared. Why isn't anything being done about this? The gun control issue is so out of fucking whack. Thousands of them happen every fucking year. And nobody, all of our politicians aren't doing fucking anything about it. And that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing for our country. The second thing that I started being embarrassed about in our country is the lack of healthcare. I realized at some point in the middle of high school that other countries don't have to fucking pay for health insurance or healthcare. They have a single payer healthcare system in which they pay taxes and then the government provides them healthcare. That's it. There aren't hundreds of private insurance companies whose only job is to point a gun in your head to say, give us $200 No, give us $500 or you don't get health care. And if you do get hurt, you're going to go into bankruptcy for medical bills. And I'm thinking like, dude, that's fucking stupid, right? That's so stupid. I remember watching a streamer named SFan. He went to South Korea. And I don't remember what happened, but he got hurt like on his hand. And it was enough to warrant him going to the hospital. He went in, he got patched up, and on his way out, they said, you're all set. And he goes, I don't have to pay anything? And they go, no, of course not. You're good. And then he walked out. And he talked about it like it was a miracle that he didn't have to pay for that. And I was like, yeah, that's true. In America, we would have to fucking pay thousands of dollars for that fucking shit, right? For a couple of stitches, it's like hundreds of dollars. And you're thinking, right, like, hold on, right? You're thinking like, hold on. We are the most powerful and richest country in the world. And somehow other countries who are not as powerful as us, who are not as rich as us, who don't have half of the GDP that we have, who figured that out. They figured out how to make healthcare free. Japan, South Korea, Canada, fucking Australia, Switzerland, Ireland, Sweden, Norway, France, Germany, Spain, Portugal, all of these countries that are not as powerful as us somehow figured that shit out. Think about it, right? There are countries that don't have half the GDP of fucking Florida and somehow they get fucking healthcare and we don't. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Like, how can I be proud of a country like that? That refuses to take care of their fucking citizens, all in the name of the free fucking market, right? That's fucking bullshit. I just want to be able to not get sick and be able to survive. And it's so fucking backwards too, because like, I remember watching the Mr. Beast video of him curing 1,000 people of blindness. And the procedure is only like 10 minutes long or something. Like they just go in with the machine and they take out like a bunch of the white goop out of your fucking eyes. And then you're able to fucking see.
We can't see, but we have all the technology to fix it.
Yep, half of all the blindness in the world is people who need a 10-minute surgery.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, dude, if healthcare was free, think about how many people would just be able to go back to fucking work. Isn't that more of a net benefit? Those 1,000 people, if the government just cured their blindness, they could just go to work and make more money. That's beneficial for the economy. Doesn't that make more sense? If we take care of our people, then they're able to work. But somehow it's more profitable to bar them from having that kind of healthcare and keep them on like social welfare, like disability and stuff like that. Like somehow, I don't know. It's fucking, I can't be proud of a country that doesn't take care of its citizens. It just doesn't make any sense. The other thing that I'm not really proud of in this country is the cost of living. It is unbelievably difficult to be alive. And it's intentional. The reason why your life sucks is because the billionaires want your life to suck. They don't want to build more housing for you. They don't want you to have a fair wage, because if they have to pay you more money, then guess what? They have to lose more money, right? They can't buy their third yacht if they're paying us more money to fucking live. Everyone I know is struggling. How can I be proud of this country? Like 200 billionaires who hold $1 trillion worth of fucking wealth. And somehow everyone that I'm looking at, right, is struggling and nobody's making a fucking fit. Nobody's like, it feels like nobody's mad. All I'm saying is that it's embarrassing to be an American. It's embarrassing. When I see the comment section of a bunch of Europeans and they're talking about how America sucks and we have all these problems, I'm thinking like, yeah, it is. Like, we do have these problems. And it's so embarrassing that we can't figure out these fundamental fucking problems, right? We can't figure out gun control, healthcare, cost of living. We can't figure out how to build more housing. We can't figure out how to increase the wages. We can't figure out our infrastructure, right? Our infrastructure is dog shit. And it's so car-centric and nobody can like walk anywhere and everyone's fucking fat. But at the same time, people are starving. Kids are starving. Our literacy rate is going down. Our education system is dog shit. And then we have all these billionaires ruining all of it. How can I be proud of this country? How can I? It's embarrassing to be an American. It really is. You know, and people will say, why don't you just move out of this country then? And I say, no, of course I'm not going to move out of this fucking country, because this is where I was born. This country is my home. Okay? If your house had a leak, are you gonna fucking pack up and move to a different fucking house? No, you're gonna fix the fucking leak. You're gonna at least try. And I think that I want to at least try. I want to fight for a better future because this country is so beautiful and there are good people here, right? I still believe in the message of the United States that this place is welcoming to immigrants and that anyone from around the world can come here for safety, for security, for freedom of religion, for freedom of speech, that you can come here and as long as you work hard, you can make a good life for yourself, right? I believe in that message. I want to believe in that message. But right now, it's just a bunch of fucking horse shit. Right now, it just fucking sucks. And our political system right now is fighting culture wars that don't fucking matter. Because the bottom line is that it's not black people or trans people or immigrants that are raising your fucking rent. It's not those people that are raising your fucking healthcare premiums. It's not those people. It's the fucking billionaires, dude. Because the billionaires hold all the fucking money, right? And they don't do anything with it. They don't reinvest it into their own country. They don't increase wages for their own workers. They just hoard the fucking money and they do nothing with it just to get richer and richer and richer, right? It's immense greed. And those people tell us that the problem is people making less than us. That the problem is actually immigrants, right? They're the ones leeching off the fucking system. Even though the billionaires are the ones always getting fucking bailouts from the government, right? You think about like the most prosperous point in American history or the biggest economic boom in American history. And it's when billionaires were taxed at 90%. When the top 1% was taxed at 90 fucking percent after FDR, right? The New Deal. And somehow our politicians, right, our Democratic politicians, they don't want that. And I see a victory like Zohran Mamdani in New York, and it gives me hope. It gives me hope that things can change because if he can I just hope that he doesn't turn into a fucking bullshit establishment Democrat. I hope he doesn't take money from any big billionaire corporations. He hasn't yet. But if he not only does a good job as mayor, but also puts in like real working class policies, right, that benefit the working class, then it can finally be like, oh my God, finally we have like some sort of change, you know? I just really hope that something changes. And I want to fight for that change. I want to educate myself and learn how I can convince people that the problem is not what they tell us it is. It's the billionaires. It's always been the billionaires. And I just hope that one day I can be proud of this fucking country because I want to be. I don't want to be I don't want to be talking about this shit. I just want life to work, you know? I just want to work 40 hours and make enough money so that I can save and go on trips and fucking buy new video games or just relax because I think that we deserve it, you know? We work fucking hard all the time. Like, so many of us have second jobs. So many of us are struggling to survive, and it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way, and I want to change it, and I want to like talk about stuff like that. Yeah, I really hope something changes. I really hope that we wake up as a society and things really change because I want to be proud of this country. I really do.